I'm Brenda Caldwell, aka Dr. B. Welcome to the Hope Zone, moving you from a place of hopelessness and brokenness to a place of healing and wholeness, a place where hope is alive to bring you more peace, more joy, more freedom, and more understanding of your God-given purpose. Let's enter the Hope Zone. Hi, and welcome into another edition of the Hope Zone with me, Brenda Caldwell, aka Dr. B. I am so excited about today's episode number 110. We're at episode 110 today. I'm excited about it. Before we get started, again, if you would like to subscribe to the podcast to get the upload on every Monday, you can do so and hit that notification button, and you will get notified when we have uploaded a brand new dose of hope here in the Hope Zone, where there is hope for every situation. So now, what are we talking about on today? I want to talk to you about this, and that is speaking your truth even when they don't want to hear it. Oh my goodness. Speaking your truth even when who's the they? They, others, they don't want to hear it. When people don't want to hear it, you still have the right to speak your truth. And it's so important to speak your truth. And we're going to talk today, because sometimes it's hard to speak our truth. Sometimes because of maybe the way that we were, raised to be very passive and not speak up. And, maybe we were controlled or dominated as children and we didn't really have a voice, and we were afraid because maybe you had mean parents or, just a kind of a difficult upbringing where you felt validated in your feelings. Well, it's important for you to know as an adult, you have the right to speak your truth, even when others, people don't want to hear it. And, and it's just sometimes we just have to make a decision. We have to get to a place in our life where we decide that we deserve to be heard. Did you hear that? You deserve to be heard. And it's important for you to know that even if it's not quite received, it's okay. It's better for you to speak your truth, do it in love, do it properly, do it as you are showing respect to that person, but nevertheless, speaking your truth in such a way that people respect you. People may not like what you have to say. They may not like it. People may not want to hear it, but people do respect us. It's something about when people know that you are using your voice. Even if they don't want to quite hear it then at that moment, it's so important that you know that it's a respectful thing. It shows self-respect when you speak your truth, and people will respect you when you speak your truth. And we're talking about even in a workplace situation, sometimes, you have a right to speak up. If you're, if you're being treated in a certain way that's unacceptable to you, speak up, speak your truth. If you're being put in a compromised situation, you've been put in a toxic environment or something in your workplace, and you've just been holding things in, it's important for you to realize you have a right to speak your truth. In our family, a lot of times we don't speak our truth. We're afraid. We don't want to make people mad. We don't want to make people upset at us, but you have a right to speak your truth. It's important to understand that we should speak our truth even when they don't want to hear it, even if they don't per se like it, because it makes you healthier when you're honest. It makes you healthier. It makes you physically healthier when you're not harboring, hurt and resentment and bitterness and anger and things like that you may have, or it may be something from the past. Let's talk about this. Sometimes one point I want to make about speaking your truth is asking you, are you keeping a secret? Is there some truth from the past, something that happened, something that was done to you in your childhood and you've never told anybody, and you kept it in, you didn't want to make you didn't want people to get in the family to get mad at you. You didn't want to, quote, break up the family, and you were told you better not ever tell anybody. Listen to me. I want you to be empowered to know that you have the right to speak your truth. of what happened to you. This is for somebody for sure. Speak up and tell the truth. It is never too late to speak your truth. It's never too late to speak up. It's never too late to be honest about something that has bothered you, whether it's bothered you for a long time, many years, or it's been bothering you for a few months or a few weeks, and because it just recently happened. Just understand it is better to speak your truth. The Bible says you will know the truth and the truth will set you free. But it's also important that you will speak the truth and the speaking the truth will set you free. It's important. It is important that you find your voice in this season of your life, to find your voice. If you've never really been someone that was comfortable being very honest about how you feel, you're used to being passive, you're used to keeping it in, well, you're doing a disservice to yourself. You're doing a disservice to all your relationships, because you know why? People can't read your mind. They can't read your thoughts. We have to let people know what's on our mind. We have to let people know our truth. And there's a way in which you do it. You do it by focusing on how you feel, by using those I statements. I feel this. I think this. I believe this. You may not be aware, but this is how I see it. This is how I believe. This is what, I'm feeling. That is very, very, very empowering. I want to remind you of some of the empowerment rights. I often teach on the empowerment rights as part of my speaking and counseling and coaching, and I'd like to share some with you, just to be help you to be reminded of the rights that you have. You have powerful rights available to you. I want you to be empowered with these rights. Number one, and I won't share all 10, I'll just share a few that I picked out. Number one is just to be reminded that you have a right to ask for what you want or what you need, without feeling guilty, without being, having trepidation or being afraid of what somebody's going to think of what you're asking for. You have a right. Speak up and be honest about what you need, for instance, in a relationship. What do you need? Ask for what you need. Do you need to feel more respected? Do you need to, be treated in a different way from how they are treating you? Do you need more money on your job? What do you need? What is it that you're asking for? Come on. Do you need more time? Desire? Are you asking for more time with your spouse? Whatever, with your children. You have a right to ask for what you want. Ask for it. Speak up. Speak up. Speak your truth. Even if they don't want to hear it, speak your truth. You feel better when you speak your truth. Yes, you do. And this crosses the board into all realms of life. All realms of life, in your family dynamics, speaking your truth, being honest to ask for what you want and ask for what you need. Come on, in your church community or in your friendship groups, or again, in the workplace, whatever it may be, we have the right to ask. You have the right to be honest. You have the right to speak up. You have the right to speak your truth. It is so important to learn how to speak your truth and become empowered to realize that as a child of God, it is His will for you to be able to speak your truth. That's why He gave you a voice. That's why He gave you a mouth. One of the 7 gifts that God has given to every believer, abilities that God has given, is the ability to speak. Mouth, the ability to actually speak. Use your mouth to speak up. You have a right. And sometimes we're afraid. I understand. Sometimes we get in fear, because fear says they're not going to hear you. They're not going to want to hear what you have to say, and they're going to be mad at you. You have no power to make anybody mad at you. And no one has the power to make you mad. We use that a lot. Oh, they made me mad. Oh, they're going to get mad. Well, that they're choosing to get mad. If you take the time to speak your truth and speak up and somebody gets mad, they're choosing that emotion. They can choose to be mature and receive. They can choose to be understanding. They can choose to be empathetic. Choosing to be mad, that is on them. But one of the things that is important is making sure that when you do speak your truth, that you do it in love. The Bible says, in all that we do, let it be done in love. Let it be done in love. Let it be done with a godly tone. Let it be done without cursing, without yelling, without screaming, without a whole bunch of emotion, without blaming, without criticizing. No, that's not going to let people receive you. But if you do it in such a way that is respectful, if you do it in such a way that is a tone where people can hear you, if you speak your truth by saying, listen, I have something I need to say, and I'm just asking you, would you please hear me out? That's respectful. I need to be honest about something, and I would like to be heard. Would you please hear me out? That's respectful. People who are mature enough and secure enough will allow you to express your truth. But you have to take the initiative to speak up when there's something to be said. I know this is a word for you because you're listening at the right time, for the right reason. Yes, you are. Why? Because God wants to grow you. He wants you to know that you have that right. Let me share another right with you. You have the right to expect respect. Did you hear that? You have a right to expect respect. That's powerful right there. We have a right to expect respect and honesty. That's important. People should respect us. We should respect people. We should show honor. We should show respect. We should talk to people in a respectful, godly, mature manner. We should consider people's feelings, but people should also consider your feelings. They should also consider how they talk to you, and you have that right. And so if someone is not being respectful to you, well, you have a right to speak your truth and let that be known. That is your right. That is your absolute right. Understand that that is your right you have that right to be heard. You have that right to be listened to. You have that right to allow your opinion or your feelings to be expressed. That is your right. But you have to exercise your right. Somewhere within you, you have to wake up and say, oh, I can't hold things in any longer. I can't be passive any longer. I can't be afraid and timid that they're going to be mad at me and they're going to shut down and they're not going to speak to me. Well, people like that don't need to be in your life anyway. You need to reposition them anyway. If you can't speak your truth, if you've got to walk on eggshells, let me tell you something. I want to put a pin here, and this is in my spirit to share with somebody that share with you as you're listening right now. Because I'm in therapy, I deal with this subject often, so many times. Why? Because there's an exposure of narcissism, and to understand when you have to walk on eggshells with somebody, and you literally are afraid to speak your truth because they're gonna blow up. You feel like they're gonna just be defensive. They're gonna shut you down. They're gonna be ready to argue. They're gonna cut you off. Anytime you try to speak truth, that you're resented. That's narcissistic personality disorder. That's someone that has that personality disorder called narcissism. It's a lot more descriptions that describe narcissism, but one of the key is they have very thin skin. Narcissists have very thin skin, and they are so quick to be offended. They're the ones that the Bible really talks about. I'm telling you, I mean, literally are so quick. The Bible says this in Proverbs, that the heart of one who's offended is quicker. Listen, is no, the heart of one that gets offended is harder to open back up than the gates of an iron city. It's like, boom, they put a bar over their heart and they do not want to hear anything you have to say. They will shut down. They will stop speaking to you. They'll give you the silent treatment. They will let you know how angry and disappointed they are with you. I mean, truly, narcissists literally are people that absolutely can be very difficult to speak your truth to. But you still have a right to. You have a right to speak your truth. You have a right to say what you need to say. That is your God-given right. You need to make sure that you do not shrink and become so timid that you are always hiding your truth. just to appease, just to appease, just to people please. No, Paul said in Galatians 1 verse 10, he asked this question: am I trying to win the approval of men or of God? Am I trying to please men? If I were still trying to please men, I would not be a bondservant of Christ. Paul is reminding us, do not operate in the fear of man. Why? Because we're making idols out of people and gods out of people if we care more about what people are going to think about us than what God thinks about us, if we honor him and obey him. And sometimes God just tells you to speak your truth. Even if they're not going to like it, even if they're not going to receive you, God knows that is going to be liberating for you, liberating and freeing for you. So that's important for you to recognize and realize that it is time for you to speak up, speak your truth, be heard, and know that heaven has your back. God has your back. Jesus has you. He's the great intercessor sitting at the right hand of the Father. So when you are speaking your truth, Jesus is interceding for you. It's okay for you to speak your truth. It's okay for you. And it's also okay. Let me give you another right that you have. You have a right also to determine your own priorities. So sometimes our priorities change. Sometimes your priorities change in your family dynamics. Sometimes your priorities change in your workplace. Sometimes your priorities change concerning your faith community, your church experience or relationships there. Sometimes your job, your priorities just change amongst your friends and things. So you have a right. You have a right to speak your truth. If there's something that you used to do and you no longer want to do that, that no longer satisfies you, you have a right to speak your truth, even if they don't like it. So if you're done with the clubbing, come on somebody, if that's old to you now and you're trying to do more spiritual things with your time, and maybe you're trying to go to Bible study when that's the night you normally go to the club, listen, speak your truth. Speak your truth. And so that, the people that you were hanging out with, if they don't like it, they can't expect that, they can't respect that, then it's time to reposition them anyway. Speak your truth, even when they don't like it, even when they don't want to hear it. It's better to be respected because you spoke your truth than to be accepted because you are not saying anything. That's a word. Think about it. It is better for people to respect you because you spoke your truth than to accept you because you keep it quiet. You don't ruffle anything. You just go along. You're just trying to fit in. You're just trying to be liked. You just don't want anybody to dislike you or to turn on you. Let me tell you, it is your season. It is your season. To everything, there's a season. And this is the season of your life. I decree and declare that something rises up on the inside of you and you decide, no, I deserve to be respected even if I'm not liked. It's okay. It's not that they don't like me. They don't like what truth I'm saying because it makes them feel uncomfortable. Maybe it's causing them to have to shift and change some things. So sometimes you got to speak your truth and ask for what you want, and people have to make some modifications or change if they want to stay in relationship with you. Come on, speak your truth. Ask for what you want. Speak your truth. That's important. That is your right. And another right that you have is you have a right to remove yourself. Talk about speaking up and speaking your truth. You have a right to remove yourself from any kind of toxic environment or toxic relationship. That is your right. It is not God's will for us to live in or be a part of relationships or any kind of environment. Now, God allows us to go through a time of testing and pruning and growing and developing character. I believe that for sure. It's not meant to be a bed of roses and everything in every relationship is just wonderful all the time. But it is not God's will for you to be abused on any day. It is not God's will for you to be in an environment where you're constantly being put down and criticized and maybe, cursed out, or you're just, treated, like you're being tolerated. That's not the will of God. It's not God's will for you to just tolerate and accept, because I've said this before, what you can tolerate will not change. Get that? If you can tolerate it, why should they change it? Why should they do anything different? If you don't speak up, people will walk over you. If you don't speak up, people will take advantage of you. If you don't speak your truth, people will treat you not the way that you deserve to be treated, but the way they deserve, the way they think you deserve to be treated. Come on now. Come on. We're the king's kid. We're not the devil's doormat to be walked on and stepped on and treated any kind of way. No, God did not send Jesus to die on a cross. Come on. For you to be abused, for you to feel that you don't have a voice. No, he died for you to have a voice. We are overcomers. We can do all things through Christ, which strengthens us. That's what he says in his word. So in every single way, realize and recognize this is the season to find your voice. This is the season to know that you are victorious. This is the season to say, I have a voice and I am victorious. Come on, I have a voice and I am victorious. Did you know that? That you have a voice and you have the power to be victorious. You have the power to speak up. Get what you want because you ask for what you want. And a closed mouth cannot be fed. Closed mouth cannot be fed. You have to say something. You have to do something, but you have to say something. You've got to speak your truth. Sometimes people won't want to hear. They won't like it, but that's okay. I'm telling you something. I just want to remind you of what a couple of stories in the Word. Jeremiah. Jeremiah was young. He was young when God called him. And he said, Jeremiah, I have set you apart. I've set you apart as a prophet. I knew you when you were in your mother's womb. I've already planned for you. He says, I have sanctified you and I have set you apart to be a prophet. Come on, to the nation and the nation of Israel. These were Jeremiah's relatives. These were the children of God. He was a child of God, but he was raised up to be a prophet and he was a young man. But God told Jeremiah, when Jeremiah said, I don't know what to say to them. I am but a child. Jeremiah was looking for an excuse because he was afraid. And God told Jeremiah, look, Jeremiah, I will put my words in your mouth. Oh my God. He said, you just open your mouth. I'll fill your mouth with my words. He was letting Jeremiah know, Jeremiah, he said, don't even look at their faces. He says, be not afraid. I'm here to tell you, God says, listen, it's important that you speak the truth. Well, they didn't want to hear Jeremiah. Jeremiah had the assignment on his life to tell the children of Israel that if they did not turn their hearts back to God, because they had begun to mix in with other gods, they had begun to mix in with heathens, with people who were not worshiping the true and the living God, but false gods and false idols. And Jeremiah was sent by God to tell the children of Israel to turn their hearts back to him. And that if they did not turn back to him, that they would be put back in captivity. Well, Jeremiah had a great assignment. That's a hard assignment to speak that truth. That's what you call speaking the truth, even when somebody didn't want to hear it. They did not want to hear that. But nevertheless, Jeremiah was a weeping prophet. He cried, he wept, he had empathy. He had a heart for them, and he knew that they were being disobedient. He knew they weren't hearing, but he kept speaking the truth. And he did live to hear his prophecy come to pass, because, again, out of that disobedience, the children of Israel went back into captivity in Babylonia. So it's important to understand that sometimes God uses you to speak some truth to somebody. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to hear anything you have to say. They're shutting you down, but you have to be obedient to God. In Isaiah 1:19, he says, he that is willing and obedient shall eat the good of the land. He that is willing and obedient shall eat the good of the land. And that's important when we're obeying God and putting, like Paul said, listen, it's important to please God rather than trying to please people. So sometimes speaking the truth, God can give you an assignment to speak something to somebody and they don't want to hear it. They may not want to hear what you have to say, but speak it anyway. Speak up anyway. Because down the road, they'll come back to thank you. Down the road, even if they don't come back to thank you, God will thank you. He'll send a reward your way for simply being obedient. Moses didn't want to speak the truth. Moses made excuses as well. Moses said, well, I stutter, God, I stutter. God said, don't, and Moses, didn't I give you that mouth? Moses, don't you know that I know about your stuttering? Your stuttering is only going to bring me glory. It's only going to bring me glory, Moses. So look, Moses, when Moses said, well, who shall I say sent me? When he was given the assignment to go and tell Pharaoh to let God's people go, God told him, you tell him I am sent you. I always love to say that, I am. He said, you tell him I am sent you. Listen, he said, you just go and speak truth. Even if Pharaoh doesn't want to hear what you have to say, as my mouthpiece, I got your back, Moses. I'm with you. I am with you, and I will be with you and my children. You just go and speak the truth. So it's a powerful thing to speak truth. Sometimes people won't want to hear it, but people will respect you. We have to find our voice. And in this season of your life, just know that God has ordained you to speak up, to speak your truth. He's ordained you to be respected. He's ordained you to find that voice that is on the inside of you and to stop being passive and stop being passive aggressive. Passive aggressive is that unwillingness to speak your truth. You hold your feelings in, and then you end up going off. You end up, bringing up 15 things when you finally do find the courage and you give people the silent treatment. Oh, that's not God. That's not mature. No, we don't want to be passive aggressive. We don't want to hold it in and then explode. We want to realize that we have the right when there's a need to speak truth, when there's a need to speak up. Just realize you have a right to do it in real time and not have to wait forever to get it out. You have a right to speak up and speak your truth, and people will respect you. Are you receiving this? I hope you receive this episode today, because it's really meant to empower you to find your voice and to be respected, and realize that if you speak your truth, you will be respected. And God will have your back, and you will grow. This is about growing. My podcast episodes is about teaching us to grow. I'm a receiver of it as well. Every time I go back and listen to it, it blesses me to be able to grow and to find myself being challenged as well. So this is about challenging us to speak up, to find our voice, to use our voice, and to speak truth even when others may not want to hear it. I'm here to tell you, God is pleased when we obey what He has given us to say. All right, well, that is the end of this episode. And again, for more information on my works, go to drbempowers.com, drbempowers.com. There you'll see some other things that I do, the speaking, the coaching, just the different things, the different works that I do, see some of the books that I have. And I just am encouraged by people that continue to reach out and tell me that the podcast is being a blessing. If you like, again, to subscribe, do so. Subscribe to the podcast, hit the notification button, and you will get that next dose of hope, which uploads every single Monday. Well, in closing, I always like to say, in a world full of darkness, there's still a reason to have hope. So you know what I want you to do? Hold on to hope like it's a piece of rope. Until next time. I'm so glad you made it to the end of the podcast. If the Hope Zone is making a positive difference in your life, please subscribe to the show so you don't miss the next episode. Leave a review, and most of all, share it with your friends. And remember, from your worst day to your best day, there's hope in every situation.